This podcast contains explicit language. Hey, this is Mike from 424recording.com, and I just want to ask, if you're a fan of the podcast or channel, would you support us at patreon.com/424recording? For as little as $1 a month, the cost of a cheap cup of coffee, you'll get exclusive rewards and help keep this podcast mattress ad free. Will you support us at patreon.com/424recording? Hello, and welcome to 424 Recording, a podcast featuring interviews with musicians, artists, YouTubers, and other creatives about the creative process. We're also talking all things music, especially in the punk, grunge, bedroom, and indie rock genres. This is Mike from 424 Recording, and on this week's episode, it's part 2 of a chat I had with UK musician and podcaster Freddie Webber. If you haven't checked out part 1, that one came out last week. And this is a continuation of that podcast, and it was a lot of fun. I mentioned last week that we talked a lot about Ed Sheeran, and I noticed that a lot of the talk about Ed is on this part of the podcast. So if you were looking forward to that last week, or the cliffhanger left you hanging, this podcast is for you. You can check out Freddie's podcast, Are You Freddie For This? Wherever you listen to podcasts. And in this chat, we talked YouTube strategies, Kemper amps, that was last week. This week we talked a lot about, I guess mostly about YouTube and getting things done, the importance of trying things out, and of course, Freddie's, obsession maybe, with Ed Sheeran. This is part 2 of my chat with Freddie Webber. I think that, like, for me, like, the romanticism and nostalgia of certain things and idealism, like, that stuff is super dangerous, and because I think that's what kind of led me to where I'm at now, because I always say the same thing, Freddie. I say I wish, like, oh man, I wish I had this mentality 10 years ago. I wish I had started making videos 10 years ago. I wish I had been playing more shows you know what I mean? Like, I wish, if I had the work ethic I have now back then, but I guess that's my path, though. It took me those years doing the things I did to get to where I am now, and I don't think I would have been mature enough. I don't think I would have had the work ethic because I hadn't gone through the things that I went through. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
You can't even with that.
There's a famous English sitcom called Only Fools and Horses, which I don't know if it would translate to anyone outside of the UK, because I tried to show my girlfriend who's not from England, and she's like, yeah, it's okay. But in England, it's like there's it started in the 80s. There's shitloads of episodes. It's just classic,
Nice.
But
BBC or
I don't know. It must have been. I'm not sure. Anyway, well, in it there's the main guy in it. He's a market salesman. He's next year will be a millionaire, grafting down the market. Oh, I love that. It's Del Boy, it's called. It's great. But there was a moment in it, as often you do sometimes in comedies, there's a line or a phrase that is a throwaway comment, but is actually, there's a lot of gravity to it. And I can't remember what the scene is or what they're talking about, but someone says, oh, what if da 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 da. And he says, if my brother was a girl, he'd be my sister. And that sort of summed up, well, it doesn't, you can't go with what ifs, because that changes everything. That changes the whole world with the what if. So I think, like the should thing, I think if is a danger. It can be a dangerous word.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you deal with what is that called? Hypothetical situations. It's like, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like you said, it would completely change everything. Like it's like there's also like the American Office too. I'm sure you know the British Office, but there's like a quote where they said, they're I don't know, Andy, or they're at this church benefit, and the girl's talking about how they're gonna go and help these like people in another country, and she's like, what if everybody was our sister and we treated everybody like kind, and then Andy's like, what if Jupiter was your toothbrush, and like this,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Because I mean, it's a nice idea, right? But at the same time, it's just very, you could say that about literally anything, and it would change like you said, like the perspective, or it would change the entire situation. It's like it's I don't know. Like I don't know. I just realized like I'm just more into like concrete. Like you said, what can you do now?
Yeah. And
What can you control in your own sphere? You know?
exactly. What if I'd gone to the other college uh, with Ed Sheeran? What if I'd dated that girl that I met that now opens for him?
Yeah,
Well, I don't, and I didn't. So
yeah.
there's no point.
There's no
There's no.
yeah. That's a waste of your minimal. Your That's a waste of your um like time and your
Yeah.
the finite amount. That's what I'm going to say. Your finite amount of energy that you have to think about or to act on anything else. Like that's kind of how I
Yeah.
look at things too. It's like you only have so much energy. I know I only have so much energy a day to do certain things, and like if I'm going to spend that energy being like anxious and worrying about what other people have and what I don't have, or comparing myself to other people, or thinking negatively about other people, like that's just a fucking waste of your finite amount of time and energy you have on the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah. It really. There was a girl that went to my school that sadly died a year or two after we finished school,
Oh wow.
and we went. I didn't know her so well, but I think she was in a few of my classes. But we went to the funeral and whatnot, and every now and again I really try and think of her, because whatever I do, she can't do.
Yeah.
So whatever I'm doing, enjoy it. If I'm not, and be in the moment. If today I'm going to sit in my pajamas and I'm going to watch Netflix, then I'm going to sit in my pajamas and I'm going to watch Netflix, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. If
Yeah,
today I'm
just
going to be...
enjoy the fuck out of that. Yeah.
Exactly, because I know for a fact that she cannot.
Yeah.
And she didn't ever experience this really hot summer that we've just had, because she's not here. So again, perspective. And of course you're allowed to get stressed out, and you're allowed to get annoyed that you haven't finished your song, or it's not quite right, or because that all makes up the makeup of being a human being. Is you can't... every day can't be roses and sunshine, because you got to have the shit days for the nice days to be nice. But then when you have a shit day, you got to be accepting of it, and okay, today's shit, but whatever. At least I'm
Yeah.
having a shit day. There's God, goodness gracious, we get deep with this, don't we, Mike?
Yeah, I feel like there always takes a turn into this, but I feel like this is why I want to have these conversations with people, you know, and these are the things I want to talk about, and because I feel like there's a lot to discover, a lot to uncover, and
Yes.
because
And
I
for
think
me,
this is things that a lot of people think about, but I don't really talk about these things very deeply with most people. Like I have very surface level interactions with probably 99% of the people I encounter, you know,
yes,
so. And I
yes,
think that's the thing. Like again, I was saying, like I don't know. Like I feel like this is all stuff that I don't know. I enjoy. I think it's important to have these kind of conversations.
definitely. And I, again, like I said before, I try and filter everything. Well, I try, or just subconsciously do, filter everything into music, because it takes such a big part of... it has taken up such a big part of my life, and still does, and my head, it takes up a lot
Yeah,
of it. So
yeah,
I try and filter everything into that, and yeah, just perspective. Oh goodness gracious, I've lost myself again.
I think
It's because it's...
perspective, gratefulness, being in the now, like
yes,
you know, because that's the whole thing too. Is because I used to get really guilty about feeling like I was quote unquote wasting time doing something, or you know, I like to play video games once in a while. I've always have. That's always like was a big hobby of mine as a kid. And I think just
sure,
our generation, you know.
yes,
And once in a while I'll do that, and you know, even Netflix. Like I don't really watch it anymore because like I like games because it's active, it's engaging my mind.
yes,
But like you know, rather than Mike, you know, you should. Here we go, right? Mike, you should
yeah,
be
yeah.
making a song. Mike, you should be making a video. It's like, nah, I don't want to do that right now. I want to do this. You know, like
I struggled for a long
and
time.
just enjoy it.
Yeah, after I left school and college and I moved to London, I took my PlayStation with me, and I felt guilty. I didn't enjoy it because every time I would sit down to do it, I felt like I should be doing something else. Or the voice said, what are you doing? You should be doing so. And so I never. But then okay, so I can't enjoy the PlayStation. Right, turn it off. Where's the guitar? And then you sit with the guitar and you think, I'm not enjoying this either because I want to be playing PlayStation. And so I struggled with that for a while. But now I'm more accepting of being in the moment. It's a cliche thing that gets thrown around a lot, but it really does.
I feel like cliches are those things that they are cliche for a reason, and you hear them so many times and they kind of just like go over your head, or they're just like, you're like, yeah, like, I always just like bring up Nike, like just do it. Like,
yeah,
you've heard that so many times, but when that hits you and you realize like what that actually means, and like much like you're saying, it's like, because those cliches are cliche for a reason, and it's like, but once you have like the actual realization of like what that is, like that's like probably the best, I think, trademark or catchphrase of any company I think I've ever heard,
Yeah, and I think and having things that you see and hear all the time, I think I'm going to write stuff up actually and put it on my wall just to bang yourself over the head with it until it seeps in. Like,
yeah,
phrases like that help you relax into being in the moment. I think I spoke about this last time, but there's a little film review podcast I love listening to, and it's been going for years, and there's loads of in-jokes. And one of them is people will write in with a question that ranges from I'm cooking a raisin cake to I'm studying to be a scientist, and they'll say to the film reviewer, Mark, I'm cooking a raisin cake. What's the best way to cook a raisin cake? And his answer will be, well, you just cook a raisin cake. I'm looking to do a triathlon. What's the best way? Is there a best method to train for a triathlon? What should I do? Well, you just train for a triathlon. Yeah. That's the running joke. Yeah. But it's a running, again, it's a joke that has such gravity to it because it actually has a lot of good meaning to it. We're not going too long for you. This is it's good for me. I've got an hour and 20 minutes on my.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just like pretty much let them roll,
Okay, cool.
If you still got time and we're still feeling it, cool. If not, I could always break it up into 2 weeks. Like, I don't care. It's like,
well, I love, for podcasts, as a fan of podcasts, I like the longer ones because I know there's going to be lots of rambling and there's going to be bits people might have to filter through or hang on to, but we're now into the belly of things, it's a nice deep conversation that's taken natural progressions, which I suppose is a great analogy for what we've been talking about, is that you just got to let things run. You just got to let things go, and then when it's stopped or finished, or you take a second to stop and look back, you think, oh, okay, that was good, or we rambled a bit in that bit, or what did I say there? I don't know. But you it's going to be lots. I wonder how many times I've forgotten what I was going to say halfway through saying it.
Yeah, I was like, he's either gonna come to like this amazing point and realization right here, or he's just completely forgot what he just said.
Yeah, it's like, I think maybe I'm just so on point that my brain goes, you can't say what you're going to say because it's going to blow people's minds. You're going to have to just forget about it. Or you can't process them. I love watching Doctor Who, and there's a fan theories of Doctor Who that when he says things that he says, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, and all these people go, well, what did you say that for? And there's a fan theory. It's like, well, what he actually says is so clever that the human brain just processes as that. Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what I do to myself. I think, I've got a really good point. Oh no, it's gone. No, can't handle it. Yeah. Can't handle the point.
I think it's like the moment thing too. I feel like sometimes when you're speaking and on a roll with something, like you kind of lose yourself. It's kind of like performing, like there's always like, you can get into this like meditative state. I feel like conversations like this are often like that too. And then you have this realization like, oh man, this is really cool. Or like, this is really some next level stuff I'm talking about. And then it's like, wait, what was I talking about?
Exactly. Well, so if I can ask you a question in terms of taking a step back and looking
Yeah, let's do
Like
it.
especially like, so you've done the channel for a year and a half, and now you can look, and you're beginning to build up loads of subscribers. When you look back at it for the last year and a half, is there something that you think, oh, that was a good move? Or for example, you saying, right now I'm going to do things one a week, or at least one a week.
Yeah, I think that was probably the best decision I've ever made in my creative life, and also just in terms of
Right.
some aspects of my life, like committing to doing something like once a week and like having like a very strict deadline, like because I'm the kind of person that, for better or worse, like if I exercise, like I'm gonna exercise like religiously every day at a certain time, and the
Okay.
second that I fall off that schedule, I'll never exercise again. So it's like,
Right.
I don't know, setting a realistic deadline and saying like no matter what it is, if you think it's a great video and you took 8 hours to do it, or if it's a talking head video that took you a half hour, or if it's a video you just put your phone up and had something to say, like no matter what, like what I've learned is the importance of showing up and just
Okay.
being there at like and saying like no matter what, every 3 p.m. you're gonna film yourself writing a new song, you know, like because
Yeah.
of what you're thinking of, and it's like the process of going through that and getting into a rhythm of that, and having that commitment to yourself, like I think it'll change your life because it's definitely changed mine, and I know that almost sounds like it's just like whatever, but
Well, no,
yeah,
definitely do, because if you hadn't, then I probably wouldn't have. Well, I don't know
right.
when
I
it
mean,
was
we
you put
wouldn't
yourself,
even be
but
talking here, right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's definitely 100% the truth. Like I wouldn't even be doing what I'm doing now. I probably would have. I don't even know. Like I think just committing to doing that, and then like just the things that I've learned, like I said, like if YouTube blew up like tomorrow and all this shit disappeared, like the fact that I've been able to, because I was never great at speaking or like public speaking or,
yes,
talking about my thoughts. Like I would have never even been able to, I always say this, I would have never been able to have these sorts of like conversations, been able to keep things running, kind of riffing on things, like
yeah,
formulating ideas, like I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm just like a little slow or I'm like a slow learner, but like, that's something I always wanted to work on, honestly, was being able to speak. And like, that's helped me in like job interviews. That's helped me just like talking to people at the food store. It's helped me like, because I have like a lot of social anxiety, I
hmm,
don't think that's something a lot of people know or I really talk about, but and I think a lot of that is just is like self consciousness. And it really helps to do something like this. And like every week you sit down and talk into a camera, and if you look at some of those early videos, I'm saying, man, like it's crazy, like I like the way that I like how I've become just that way in speaking, and being comfortable in my own skin, and formulating ideas, and hypothesizing and experimenting with things, and
I've
you know
certainly noticed it's become slicker, definitely,
thank you.
from the, and almost the when you the rant videos and the why you should go into a studio, why you shouldn't go into a
Yeah,
studio, and things like that. I did notice, but if
you
I
felt
can
like
fire,
those were slicker at that point or since
well,
then?
I remember watching them and thinking, I don't know if I could talk that free, like talk that, because I don't remember them having
Wow,
particularly lots of
thanks.
edits.
That's a
But
really good thanks.
yeah,
Yeah.
and in the live streams as well, just being able to talk, because
Yeah.
like now in this, I'm really enjoying this conversation, but you can hear me being sticky. Like,
I think no, I don't think so. I think you're pretty I mean, I have those moments too, like I listen to back some of these, and I usually have like placements, and like words, like I always say like I'm thinking of something, and I think it just comes with practice, I don't think at all, man. I think it's awesome. Like
what, can I have another question? Sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I asked this on behalf of other people that are going to be listening and watching your stuff, and feeling inspired to do similar stuff. Is how do you be consistent with output and deadlines in balance with a quote normal life?
That's I think that's the trick of it, right? Well, I had my full-time job, or post office gig when I was really
Yeah.
ramping up the channel, and
Okay.
I used to wake up really early. Like some of those videos, if you look at some of those, like the time of day of when those videos were shot, and then also like when I was editing them, I just really committed to it and said like, no matter what, like, and there were some days when I was late to work, you know, and luckily my
Right.
boss at the time was pretty lax, and you know, this is the kind of job where if you came in a little later, but as long as you got back and done, then he knew I would always get done and back, so it was never an issue.
Okay.
But and I was always pretty fast at it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like you have to prioritize it and make it a priority, and that may mean getting up earlier. That may mean not watching 2 episodes of Doctor Who, but watching one. You know,
Yeah.
that may mean like not going to a movie or something, or that I don't know,
Okay.
like you'll figure out what's important to you and prioritize it. And if
Did you ever?
if you don't have time to do it. I'm not saying like you. I'm just saying like pure somebody in general. Like if you don't have
Yeah.
time to do it, it's because you're not prioritizing the time to do it. Like because I know people that have like kids and multiple kids and like Bo Beats, right? Like that's another YouTube dude that is pretty
Yeah.
prolific and has been doing it a while and has this huge network, or like just like a big. He's built like a really big thing for himself. Like a place to hang out, or I don't know. I can't think of the word. What I'm trying to think of, but he's built a little empire, I guess.
Right.
A little whatever. So, but I was looking at him and talking to him, and that was like a big thing I wanted to ask him too, because I know he's like this psychotherapist, I think, and he
Yes.
lectures, and like he has kids, and his wife, and he's got his family, and but he puts out stuff like so consistently. He's always like in the comments and talking to people, and I just think I think you have enough time. Everybody, you have enough time to do it, and it's just a matter of prioritizing that time. Like,
Okay.
and because what are you thinking that maybe you won't be able to keep up with it, or
No, it's I'm thinking how can so if I think right, Monday, Tuesday is going to be the writing of the song. Wednesday is going to be the recording of it. Thursday editing, for example. What happens?
Okay, yeah.
What happens if I have to go and see the girlfriend's nan on a Tuesday afternoon, and oh fuck, right, that throws off my shit. Like, how lenient are you with your like? Do you think right? It's a 4 hours. I'm doing this today. Whatever 4 hours it is, it's going to be 4 hours. Or is it a block? So because I've been hearing the phrase, you've got to look at it, and I do. You got to look at it as another job.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely at least a part-time job, if not another full-time job.
But then
But
I
it doesn't
wonder.
feel like that. It doesn't feel like that at all.
But is there flexibility within? It sounds like I'm looking for an excuse to not do things, and it's not. It's just more of a.
No. I think yeah. I mean, I think that's a concern. Like when you start it, like because it's a big. I think what you're grappling with is that it's a big commitment. And
Yeah.
I like I said, it comes down to what you prioritize. Like obviously, like going to see your girlfriend's nan, like that's important. Like that's something you should do, right?
Sure.
But and maybe that week but I think as long as you show up somehow, maybe you don't show the whole song off. Maybe you show the verse off. Maybe you just show up and
Right.
say,
Okay.
"Hey, this week I'm having a hard time balancing." Getting my song done and all the other commitments I have. And then you can make a video talking about, and that video may take you, well, see, this is the craziest part, right? So it's like, you have this idea of, I'm going to make these videos of me making these songs. And then one day you can't, or one week you can't get to it, but you put up a video that's like, oh, hey, like I didn't have time this week. But I've been thinking about what it's like as a musician to commit to this process and what I've learned from it. And then without even trying, a video that maybe you took 15 minutes to shoot and another 15, 30 minutes to
Yeah.
edit, that could become your most popular video.
Yeah. That's
That
very
could
true.
be, and then
That's
and
very
now,
true.
and that's like kind of what happened with those rant videos. Was like, I realized that people were responding to those, and then I really should. I don't know why I stopped doing them, to be honest, but maybe I was running out of things to rant about. But like, I think that's something I want to revive. But that was kind of how that. Because at one point I decided I was doing like 4 or 5 videos a week. It was nuts, and between the
Yeah.
live streams and everything.
I remember you saying that before, and I was like, I don't how What was your week like then? That in terms of your daily routine to get 4 or 5 videos done in a week. Now, obviously, you don't.
Well, I picked this trick up from this guy Roberto Blake. He's an awesome like YouTube expert guy. Basically, if you're anybody's looking to learn about YouTube, I would totally go check out Roberto Blake and his stuff. And he's kind of shifted more into like motivational speaking. He does like tech reviews, whatever. He does a lot of different things. But
Okay.
so like I watched his stuff, and he kind of turned me onto this. Like, well, the idea was like those rant videos. Like I said, like once I scripted them, it wouldn't take that long. I would just outline them, and then each one of those little chapters would basically be like an improv of like, okay, this is why you shouldn't record in a studio, and then this is money or something, and then I would just like riff on that for 5 minutes or something, right?
Okay.
And I would keep it, try not to edit. I guess, but what I did was I would shoot all those rant videos, like say, because I said like, okay, Mondays are going to be a 4-track video, Tuesday's a live stream, Wednesday's a live stream, Thursday's going to be a tech video or like a review of like a product or a review of like a microphone, you know what I'm saying? And then Friday is going
Yeah.
to be a rant. But so what I would do is just block off like a Saturday morning or something, or like a Monday morning, whenever, and just shoot those 4 rants for the month.
Okay.
Batch processing is what it comes
Yes.
down to. Because like you could potentially, you know, if you had the songs, like your process is going to be a little bit different, but what you could try to do rather than say like Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm going to write a song, write a song, like maybe the first 4 days of the month, write a song each day, and then use,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
batch the processes of it. I mean, it depends what you want your workflow to be like and how you want to do it. But, like Roberto's thing, that what he always said was like, it's, if you want to increase the output, it just comes down to, batch processing. Like, so then I would do all the rants, like shoot all those. Because if you look at those videos, I'm wearing like the exact same thing, and it's like the
Right.
exact same lighting, and it's like that's the kind of the trick of it is because, and also just getting ahead of it. There's been times when I've been ahead of my podcast and ahead of my channel. It's like the best thing ever, and like unfortunately I'm not really ahead of it anymore. But
Yes.
I guess the idea is like potentially anybody with a channel, if you do a video a week, you could just take a weekend out of your month, take a Saturday out of your month, and shoot 4 videos, shoot 4 video ideas, and
Yeah.
then edit those, and then you can schedule them, and then you could potentially have your month's material. Freddie's 4 songs, you're gonna put out a song like depending on how you do it. I mean, you could potentially have all those done the first week, and then the next 3 weeks of the month you can visit your girlfriend's nan, and
Yeah. That's true.
so I
That's
guess
true.
it comes down to the way of thinking about it, and an assembly line kind of idea. And but I think it's also worthwhile experimenting with keeping it fresher, or you know I think it depends on the type of videos you're doing, but that's really a really good way of getting ahead of it. Especially if I was going on vacation too. Like I would make sure that I
Yeah.
did like
That's
five videos or something, and because I stopped doing that many just because it was getting a little grating, and I just didn't. I felt like I was starting to cannibalize my own audience, meaning
right.
like the thing is like
Because that's the other thing. Is there? Well, there is such a thing as too much.
yeah,
But then
sure.
what is finding that balance, isn't it? What do people? What can I do? What do people want? Is it if I release something every day, is that going to be received well? Are they going to? Oh, there's another one. No, I'm not interested. Or is it? Oh, yes, there's another one. So there's. But I suppose that comes down to experiment and seeing what the response is like is for each one, I suppose. Isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, in general, I think like again, something Roberto Blake said is like you got to think about it too. Is if think about your favorite creators. Like I don't know, like for your stuff, right? It's like if I had more of what you were doing in my life, like that would be great. I would definitely want to see
Right.
more
Okay.
of what you're doing. So it's almost like obviously they would get to a point, maybe it would be too much, but at the same time, like more at first is never usually that bad of a thing. But for me, it was just too much. Like for the type of content that I'm doing and like the channel that I have, it's like it didn't make sense. That's why I've kind of scaled it
Yeah.
back, and like because at first I did 1 video a week, and then the next month I was like, oh, let me do a video on Tuesdays too, just to see what this is like, and then that's how I got to doing like 6 or 7 videos a week. It was nuts, and I loved it, but I just started to feel like work smarter, not harder. Like
Yes. I like that.
I could probably get as like maybe, I mean, the internet rewards quantity over quality, of course, right? But
Yes.
there's always the exception to that. Like if you can come out with, if it takes you one month to produce an episode of your channel or whatever you're doing, like, but that one episode is fucking amazing, brilliant stuff, like that may be all you need. But for the type of stuff I'm doing, I think at least once a week is good. Sometimes it seems twice a week is better. And the live stream kind of is like is kind of a thing now too, and that's been growing a
Yeah.
lot. And it's kind of funny because I don't know. I was talking to Jay about that too, and we've committed to doing it. But we're thinking about maybe even stopping that for a bit and kind of taking some breather from it. But now it's because that is like a whole different animal too. It's almost like the podcast. It's like you could almost spin that off into like a whole different channel and just have a stream
Yes.
that's me and Jay, and it's I don't know. I think all this stuff is a lot of experimentation, and like there's
Yes.
certain like hard and fast rules, but then there's certain stuff that doesn't apply to everybody, and you got to kind of figure out what works for you. If you were doing like, I don't know, I'm trying to think like I'm trying to think of like a music channel that would make sense to do something every day, and I don't know.
Because it's something I've been conscious of in planning it in my head is that I wonder if there's a thirst for regular original musical content in the way that tutorial videos or gear videos do have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's going to be an experiment to see what. Like I said, the ones I've done so far, if I release 3 podcasts in a month and 3 videos, it does seem like the one where I'm writing a song and playing a song that always seems to have the stronger response and views.
That's awesome.
So which is amazing, but I don't know if I do that weekly, will it be the same? And but then you can open it up and I can do a video and talk about the guitars I use and the setup and stuff like that, which I do want to do. But I wonder if there is
you could try doing 2 and 2, or try doing or flip it and just see what happens. Like do 3.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, you said you do 3 of them and one is a song.
Yes. At the moment there's song
and that's thing, so like maybe try doing 2 songs in 1 interview. Like I don't know, like just experiment and see what, because that's awesome though that those seem to be more popular, because it seems like that's kind of when I think of Freddie Webber, I think of musician.
Right. Yeah. That's.
So I feel like that's kind of your brand. Is like you want to
and maybe
get your original music out there.
Because I think my interest in your channel went up when I started delving into your music.
Interesting.
And you would post more things about your music that I thought, this is because he's big.
Yeah. I was gonna say that the sneaky thing about that is like, I don't want to say I gave up on really making music, but like, I want to say like the most interest I've ever had in my music is like an offshoot of what I did with the 4-track stuff initially. Like,
yes,
which is mind-boggling to me, because it turns out that like using all these resources and spending all this time to like go play shows to people that don't give a shit for 15 years, like that's not. It turns out, man, if I had just like sat and made some videos on my computer those 15 years, like, geez, like where would I be? But I mean, I don't know. That sounds like whatever. But my point is like, I wasn't even intending to do that, and then now it's becoming more, because I have noticed that too, and that's why I've tried to integrate it more in like the Just a Trick. That was all about like 4-track and digital and showing off the processes. But it does seem like it's coming more around to like what I'm doing creatively as a musician, which I think is like super interesting, and like I don't even, because the fact that you say that like, oh yeah, the music is what drew me in even more, it's like that just blows my mind, because like it was literally such an afterthought of a, like I never was like, I'm going to use this channel to promote my music. It turned out that like this channel was like the best way I could have ever devised to promote my music.
Yeah, and
which is like the craziest thing to me. Like, I don't know. I say that a lot to people, and that's what I always say to people like musicians and friends and stuff. It's like, oh, hold on one second. Is like, I look at all these local bands and stuff, and all these people doing stuff, and it's kind of what you said. Like you could go and play to 25 people, and maybe one of them cares, or you can put your stuff online and get 25 people checking it out, and and that's like right now the channel gets, I don't know, maybe 500 views a day, right? And to me, that's like,
Yeah.
that's potentially 500 different people watching something creative or the message that I'm putting out into the world. Like you can't play. I mean, unless you're like a huge, unless you're Ed Sheeran, like you can't play a show every day to 500 different people.
No.
Like you would
No.
never be able to accomplish that. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it just, like you said, it all comes down to different paths for different people, and different things work differently for people. But like what I've figured out is like, trying to go on these like tours, or like putting all this money and resources into playing like basements and shit. Like that's fun and romantic, and I love it. And I did that for years as a kid and when I was younger. And but for what I'm doing or what I want to accomplish and what I want to do now with my life, like that just doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, I know because I've listened to it a few times since, but I know we spoke about that last time. Because I playing live for me is something
that's right. I got to re-listen to the podcast. I haven't had a chance to sit down.
I listened to it the other day at work, and it was a good one. I liked it.
Yeah, I had a couple of people reach out to me. I think Jason and Jody, a couple of people, check out the stuff that I'm doing, and they were like, "This is such an awesome conversation. Like, it's so interesting." I gotta like, and I was like, "Fuck, I need to like." I haven't had a down moment to like just throw it. I'm gonna probably listen to it tonight after we're done talking. But it's like, yeah, I remember having a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah, I've been speaking with.
I remember you telling the anecdote about like, when you were playing in like the Alps, and you were saying how, like, these people had never seen a live show and they didn't know how to react to between the songs and stuff. Like
exactly, and then like we're saying about numbers. Yeah, so that was.
Well, we should plug your podcast and plug that too. So Freddie did.
Sure.
We did an interview. I don't know when, that was like months ago, but anyway,
it was way back.
So Freddie and Tom did like an album review critique recently, and then they also did an interview with me about Wonders of Color. So check out Are You Freddie For This podcast, so you can hear the other flip side. You can hear Freddie interviewing me.
Yeah, and I said in my I uploaded an intro to it the other day, and went on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and stuff like that, and did an intro, and I said that we did it over that album, and since recording it and before we released it, you released another one.
Yeah.
So
I remember that. Like, I think we were even chatting about that when even like I remember when we were talking on Skype too. I think we were saying like, yeah, it's like I might have something else. Who knows?
Yeah. That's to say about numbers. Because I was just checking numbers, and I for the EP that should be out when this comes out, it's called IE, and because people keep spelling my name wrong, it's FREDDIE. It's always been that. I don't know why
how have people been spelling it with a Y?
With a Y. But often it's in messages and stuff with people. You've never done it, so you're fine. Don't worry. I'm not passively aggressively saying it. But
I think because I've been like active in what you're doing. So it's like I always see your name,
But it's and when you write a message and you put at the end of the email Freddie, IE, and then they reply, "Hey Freddie," with a Y. It's like, where have you got that from? Where's that come from? So that was part of it. But also I like the IE because it's for example.
Exactly.
So
that's what I was going to ask you. Was that the impetus for that too? Before you mentioned the misspelling,
Because now I'm actively on the pursuit of, because I did 2 EPs before that are up online, and I'm proud of them. But now this is right. I put it in the next gear now. I've taken
awesome.
off. So I don't know if I'm a lot more proud and happy with this new music, and of course there's always that could have been, but this is more about what I want to pursue. But I did a video for it, for one of the songs, and that's had like I think 850 views in the couple of months it's been out, which I am
Things You Should Know.
name of the song, by the way. which I am. No, it's one of those things. Again, when you take a step back and you listen, you observe what that actually is. That's 800 people that have watched my video. I've never played to that many people in one go before. I've never. That's 800 people that have listened to that song, been aware of me for the 3 minutes or 30 seconds.
I definitely watched it a couple times too.
I had so much fun doing it. It was great. But that goes back to the internet being the tool of, I'm going to make a video that I want to make and then put it out there. And if people like it, I think they might like it because I like it. And not that I speak for loads of people, but I'm not this conversation in our relationship is a perfect example. I'm not the only one that thinks the way I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there must be someone else out there that likes that sort of, because I like doing silly things. So, but yeah, 800 people have watched that, and it's like, that's unfathomable a year ago. That many people could have listened to, but I suppose what I was saying, if I hadn't have done that and uploaded it, there's no way I would have been exposed to 800 people over the course of
year, probably, at least.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Even if I gigged every night, there's no way that I'm going to actively.
And I would have never probably. I mean, I guess you kind of found the 424 first, but like, I would have never been able to be exposed to your music probably, like, because you're in England, so it's like I'm like halfway across the world.
Exactly. But prove that you can. That I'm going in circles now a little bit, but that doing something within the confines of what you like and what you think might be good, or that you'd like to see or have knowledge of, or whatever, has resonance with other people. Other people. Oh, I'm losing it. No, it's been a long day. It's been a long day.
I got you. Yeah, it's like, I think that's funny. I was talking with Jay about that last night too. After the stream, it was like, because he's very fiercely independent musician, artist, and like he really does not give a fuck. Like,
now he always says, I like him because that's very apparent when you watch the live streams. He's like, he says he just goes up and just screams at people, and he just wants to scream at people for a half hour, and if you like that, cool. If you don't, cool. Like, he does not give a fuck, and I think that's like such a refreshing attitude. It's like, but with doing that, you find people that do relate to that and do enjoy that, and I really appreciate what Jay does, and like musically and as an individual and as like a tech, and like fucking brilliant dude, and I think this is the same kind of thing. I just kind of put my stuff up one day and said, hey, I'm looking for some people to play with, and that's how I met him, and it was like, right,
you put up something that you did. Again, it's a perfect example, like I put up something that I liked, and was hoping, fishing for some other people that like that too, and boom, here we are a couple of years later, good friends, and we just finished this project, the preamps, and we're doing a stream, and we're doing all sorts of stuff, and have plans and recording. It's fucking sick, man. It's like, you gotta, and I think that's, I don't know. I feel like that's what everybody wants at some level, is like just that connection, and like that sharing what you enjoy with other people. Like, I think that's a very important and big part of life.
Yes, for sure. Faux show.
Because this conversation is like, talking with you, it's like super energizing, and like really something really awesome to look forward to for me, and what's going to be cool is, and I was saying this to Steven too from Noir at Blanc V, is like saying like, and he was saying, it'll be really interesting to look back on this conversation in a year, 5 years.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
see, because like, hey, if you 5 years from now, Freddie, like if you, even a year from now, right, if you do your experiment and you'll be able to point people back to this, I'll be able to point people back to this and say, hey, that's when I was talking to Freddie. Hey, you like Freddie Webber's channel? Like, guess what? This interview I did with him was before he started doing that.
Yeah, well, I'm interested. Maybe we should pencil in a podcast for a year from now to see if
Wow. Hell yeah.
I've done it, if I'm doing it.
Hell yeah. I mean, I know that we will be talking before that.
Oh, definitely. Well, we've got to speak with you about the new album.
Oh, really? Okay, let's do it.
Hell
yeah.
Need to, because it felt funny to talk at the time, be really excited about the album, and think, right, okay, that's going to come out then, and then there's another. Oh right, oh shit! It looks like we've gone backwards. It looks like you released it, and we went. No, we won't talk about the new one. I don't like that one. We'll talk about the one before.
I'll have to wait to put something else out, maybe.
Yes, that could be a thing. That could be a theme. Every time you're about to release something, we'll talk about the thing you did before.
The thing I did before, yeah, that's awesome. Well, what's cool, right, is I linked those too on that album, so that's cool. Now people can find, like, on the Bandcamp. I put the links to the show and the videos. Yeah. So I think, because I really, that's something too I think is really cool. Well, I also first want to thank you very much for being that inspired to want to, like, talk to me or talk about the album first, and then reaching out to me to talk about it, because here we are, best of friends, chilling and hanging out and relating about all this stuff, and it's so cool.
I'm really glad I did, because
it's so fucking sick, man.
Yeah, well, like I said before, when we spoke before, that there is this weirdness of getting to know someone from afar and watching the videos and being familiar with the sound of your voice and all that sort of stuff, and then being like, oh, if I don't say anything, he doesn't say anything back. We're talking, like, but then what it did do was, I thought, fuck it, I'll message him and see what happens. It suddenly made it more obviously relatable, because I was conversing with you, but there was that whole, like, so I'll give you another example that's maybe away from 424, so you can.
Sure.
But there's a friend of mine sent me a link to a American singer-songwriter called Ryan Montbleu, and he's got a song called Hot Coffee in a Paper Cup, and I listened to it and it's fucking amazing. I loved it. So I went through his catalogue on Spotify, loved his stuff. He's brilliant. I really like it. Loved it even more when I'm listening to one of his acoustic live albums, and he's saying about his part-time job as a teacher. And then I go, right, great, because then if I have a part-time job, that's fine as well. Like, there's, and I sent him a message, or I liked his post, and he sent a message back and liked one of mine. It's like, oh shit, like that's real. Like, it makes you more aware that we're all the same.
Yes. Like
Jimi Hendrix, John Lennon, David Bowie, these people will always be, they might as well be cartoon characters.
Yeah.
Because there's no way, especially now, that you would have any sort of way of making them real. Like they've
become so they're almost like legendary figures or something.
Well, listening to the live stream you did, and you're talking about a bar with statues of the Blues Brothers and Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was a real person. Blues Brothers wasn't, but they're put next to each other in the same.
It's a really interesting point, yeah.
And obviously not her real name, but still, was still a real person. So, so to be able to reach out via the internet, and that's not suggesting that every person should, but to have some sort of tangible, that you can comment on a video and the person can like it and reply back, or makes the struggle easier when you can see other people pursuing the same thing and they give you a thumbs up, like, yep, I'm struggling, I'm trying to,
Yeah, I'm over here doing this too, man.
Yeah, that was a really nice boost.
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the double-edged, but I mean, I guess this aspect, just the double-edged nature of the internet, like it's a great tool for certain things, and certain things maybe not. It's whatever. But I think this is a positive aspect of the internet. It's like
Most definitely.
you can see somebody creating something from afar and then just reach out to them and say, hey, I liked what you're doing, and they'll ring you up or send you a message or whatever and say, thanks, man. What are you doing? Like that's, because like that idea of like celebrity and like you get to see everything now. You get to see the whole process. It's like
Yes.
I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome that that's been democratized or whatever. Like I think that's cool that it's so transparent, and
Yes.
rather than having this holier than thou, he came down from the mountain and
that's
we
gone.
worshipped at his feet. It's like, nah,
and I-
man, like that's not.
I know. I hate that, and I hate that when you see. I've been having a batch of
Well, it's
likes
funny
and
because you
follows.
see people that do that stuff now in the kind of area that we're at, and it's like they'll just never go anywhere with what they're doing.
Like there's very few people that can do it now, and the people that can do it now just got on the conveyor belt before this whole thing happened. Like I think Beyonce doesn't follow anyone on Instagram. Well, you don't need to. She's Beyonce, but there won't be. But then when you get these, I've been having this batch of things recently where people follow you and you think, oh, okay, who's this? That haven't liked any of your stuff. So, okay, but that's fine. I've followed people that I like their stuff, but I haven't gone through and liked their pictures,
Yeah.
So then you check them out and you've got 74,000 followers, but you're only following 300. And I'm one of those 300. Oh, wow. I'm really, and then you're like, no. You 2 days later, go, oh, they still follow? Oh, no, they're not.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
that kind of goes back to what I was talking with Jay about too. It's like just this gaming of the system, It's like Beyonce is somebody who like worked really hard and was like like figured out in the old system how to become somebody, or how to do her art and make a lot of money doing it, right? And now today it's like, and that makes sense. It's like it's also like Will Smith. Like I was like saw him on Instagram making a video, and it just hit me like he made like an Instagram IGTV video about something, and it was like he could be anybody just sitting in his fucking kitchen. He could be your next door neighbor, just some random person. Like he's just a regular dude. But that the idea of like the celebrity and like like he's another person. Like he's been building his brand or his whatever for I mean like a brand of, I just mean like what he is, like actor, rapper, whatever. Like he's been building that for 40 years or what I'm saying, like, or 30 years. So it's like, of course, if he comes to this new system and makes a profile and like he can't get back to all these DMs, he probably has like millions of messages from people,
Yeah,
wouldn't it be amazing if he did, right? But
and there does become a point where you can't follow everyone that follows you, and if you are of that level, but just to be able to have that. I wrote a song actually, and maybe I'll try and. No, I won't say because I'll get it dusted off and then I'll.
Yeah, why don't you should use it for your channel, man.
Yeah, well, because I did it on the Tascam, that's why I thought about it. But
very cool.
No, I shan't go into it. But it was inspired by reaching out, because there's also there's people I've messaged of just sort of like, hey, I really like the stuff, and you see that they've seen it and they don't ever reply. Okay, now is that personal, or is it they see it and then their coffee gets delivered and they forget, or who knows? But the fact
I think that's something. Just really quick, like I try to get back to every single person. I know I have gotten back to every single person that's contacted me since doing this, and
yes,
I think that's really made all the difference in a lot of ways. So
yes, because I think that's and you have created that well, it's the TAS fam. It is a family.
Hell yeah.
That and when you call people out when you're doing the live streams, or it's hey, this guy Mike's here, or this is here, or how's it going? And as a viewer, that makes me think, I want to engage.
That's awesome.
I wanted to, So it's, if it was just a
one-sided,
then it wouldn't have the same feel to it.
For sure. Yeah, well, and I think that's what it's about is just building communities, you know, and building, like you're saying, like because how cool would it be if 5 years from now, you know, we've established channels and somebody who's like us but younger now has this outlet or this community to explore and you know find people that like what they like and share those things with them. Like that's fucking amazing, you know. That's a
Yeah,
really big reason I wanted to start it myself was because I felt I kind of wish there had been something like this when I was younger, or you know, or just
yes,
something because like I feel like so for me like a big part I was like create something awesome. I kind of stole that from Roberto Blake a little bit, but at the same time, like he no he well he says create something awesome. I say record something awesome because I
yeah,
think that's a great message. But
yeah, yeah.
I think I just feel like as a kid and somebody I kind of felt like I was out there in the wilderness doing shit alone, you know, and I never had the greatest support structure creatively. And remember reaching
Sure.
out to like more popular writers or people that I knew when I was pursuing writing and like going to school for that. And like, that's what I went to school for. And
Okay.
I just remember being shut down like left and right by people.
Hmm.
And it was like, I'd always wondered like, what if I just had like a mentor or somebody who was actually like, hell yeah, Mike, like fucking do it. I love what you're doing. Like
Yeah.
that's, that's what I think is missing. And that's what I want to provide for people in some capacity. Like, you know, because I think that's something I craved and you know I think they always say you kind of create the things that you want to see in the world, you know, and
Yeah.
that's something I definitely want to foster, you know, and that's why, you know,
Well, you've certainly
it's
done. You've
important to
certainly
me.
done that for me.
Thanks, Fred. Wow,
You
thank you
certainly,
so much,
certainly,
Freddie.
you,
Yeah,
you certainly spurred me on in
I
wanting
guess I have,
to.
huh? I didn't
Yeah.
even consider that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You did.
That
And
means a
that's
lot to me, Freddie.
and I think that's why. Well, I think that it makes a nice circle in terms of everything we've spoken about already. Because that's why I want to. I'm just looking at it on top of my wardrobe. That's why I want to get the Tascam out
Hell yeah.
because the whole reason and do it for the song a week because the whole reason I found your channel was because I bought that. I needed to know how to use it, and then I messaged you about being
Yeah.
and then just seeing you being more creative and more prolific made me think, no, I want to do that, and then
Hell yeah.
reaching out and then because I want to do I've got a song idea that I've had that I want to finish for the full song challenge. And I'm going to use the
Nice.
task, and I'm going to use that process as a tester for next year. But I thought, well, if you inspired me to get off my ass and actually pursue this thing that I've said for years that I want to do, then it seems only fitting that I use the Tascam actively.
Wow.
You know,
This is like really full circle. This is crazy.
yeah. It's good, isn't it? It's
That's
good. It's almost
awesome.
like
See, this is the kind of thing that makes it all worthwhile, you know. And like I know that we're, you know, more friends at this point, you know, than strangers, but it's like that's so fucking cool that something I put up online like inspired somebody like I didn't know at all to do what they want to do. Like
yes.
that's like, you know, that's what it's all about.
Definitely, and yeah, without YouTube and all that sort of shit, that would never have happened.
Right.
So yeah, it seems fitting that I use the. If you need
So when are you going to start? I'm really excited about this.
Well, I did think about starting in the new year, and then because then it's a definitive right. Make a. It's more of a, 1st of January, 31st of December run. But then I wondered, well, I'm feeling so excited and inspired by it now. Do I just start it now and then run it to this time next year? Or give myself a few weeks to set up my little setup and make sure everything's good and then start from then.
Yeah.
I
don't
what
know.
do you think? What do you think, mentor?
Oh wow, thanks. That's flattering. Jeez.
In relation to how you approach yours, did you think
Well, I think
do?
if like when you start the channel, it's going to be an uphill, right? And
Yes.
then as you do it, but the thing is like the only way out is through. You know, it's like the only way you're going to get faster at it and like quote unquote better at your process is to just fucking do it as many times as you can. So like,
Okay.
and whether you're doing that in front of people or not, I would say like just started. Like the sooner you start it, the better. And but if it takes you, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is like the process is the first couple ones you do is probably gonna take you, let's just say 8 hours, right?
Sure.
And then, but maybe 2 or 3 months from now, you'll have it down to 2 hours. And then maybe 6 months from now, you can do the whole thing in an hour or something. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
but it's going to take, like, the sooner you get into the process of doing that, like the faster and like the more you're going to learn from it and kind of like, I don't know, like the process is like the purpose of it. And it's, I don't know, this, like, yeah, if you're like gung ho about it, I mean, the only thing I could think of is like, if you're going to write a bunch of songs now and then each week re-record one that you've written, like you could take the next couple months up until January and just stackpile, try to write 52 songs, and then
But is that cheating though? Is it well, not cheating, but am I lying by doing that? I suppose I'm not, am I?
I think only you can answer that. Well, like in what sense would you feel like it would just be, because it sounds like to me you want the process to be, I want to do one a week, not do 52 and then, do one a week from that stack I just stacked up. And plus you're going to change as a person too. Like you might not even
That's true.
Like those tracks, but by the time you're doing them, but I like your original idea personally of trying to do one, or not trying, doing one once a week, and because you'll really be able to track your process and your progress. Like,
yeah.
Because if you make it the full, even if you make it 6 months or you make it a month, like you'll have 4 songs to look back at and look at your process and examine it.
Because I think as well, I know I will probably. I really like the idea of stacking things up, because I know I've done that.
Well, that's because I mentioned that because I know you did that with the podcast. Yeah,
exactly. But my worry for that is that I would have to just be disciplined with myself, because I did this song the other day. I had the musical idea one day. The next day, I finished it all off, recorded it with vocals and stuff. So I know I can do that, but I worry if I begin to allow myself to stack, then it's I won't work on these lyrics now. I'll wait till. So, but then I would just have to be disciplined and be, because I did in the Song a Month one, I think it was July, I did a song called An Insult to Science and Religion, based on what we said about stop doing what you, not living to your potential. And I'm quite happy with that song and video now, and I wasn't at the time, because I was in a bit of a funk. So it just didn't sound right, and I did it 3 or 4 times, and I kept fucking up, and I was like, oh, shit. But then I was like, well, no, that's the point of this, is that I'm not happy with this one. Yeah,
it's showing. Hold on a sec. Hey, Beck. Hi. I have an interview right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's all good.
Hello.
Freddie says hi.
Hi.
Yeah, because you're documenting the process of it, right?
Exactly, and I feel shit today, and I'm not quite happy with this song, but that's what today is. So that's what's gonna. Yeah,
it's like you just can't get too sentimental about it. I think that's kind of what I learned too. It's like, because it's all just a teaching process and all a learning process for yourself, and
yes,
and that's why I kind of try to stress to people, at least because like for my own mentality, like we seem like we're pretty similar people in the way we approach our creativity and art and stuff. And it's like, because like the big barrier to me, and like the thing I think that was holding me back, was like being so precious about, the things that I was doing in the past. And now I'm like totally past that. I'm like, well, I just want to do as much as I can, because maybe this next thing I put out isn't going to be, this huge thing I put out, and maybe the 20th thing I don't do will be this huge thing. But maybe that 21st album, that 21st EP, that's, maybe that's the one that's going to be, and it's like the sooner you can get to that point, and like, you're not going to know that until you put in the work and do that.
Because the song I did the other day, I changed up. It's an unusual style for me, but something I like, and it read with the people I played it for. Like my girlfriend came home, and I was like, oh, I just want to play something for you. She's like, okay. So I started playing it, and then on the laptop, and she walked in, took a cuff, and then she carried on talking to me. I was like, oh, okay. And then she walked around the corner, saw my laptop, and saw Logic playing, and then she's like, oh, this is you. Oh, I didn't, because it doesn't sound like you. But that
That's
could,
awesome.
but just by doing something quickly and on the whim could help you could be
Right.
just as important than spending 6 months trying to develop a sound,
Exactly. It goes exactly back to that thing I mentioned about making the videos, and you know, in this sense, like making a video every week is your regular songs, and then that one week where you visit your girlfriend's nan and you don't have time, and you make the other video that's different from what you're normally doing, but that becomes the one that like hits this chord with people, pun intended,
Yeah.
or hits this. That's the one that hits. It's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. I guess that's just
Yeah.
part of I forget my point with that, but yeah, I guess that's like the process there.
And it gives you opportunity to, like, I saw a friend today and did a session for his YouTube channel. Hasn't come, I'll fire up the name because I need to remember how to say it properly. But he plays with capos and Kaiser capos, and he's let me borrow one to see if I like it. But it's like a half capo, and sometimes it puts it only on some strings, so you can get an open,
spider capo.
you can get like an open tuning sound with this. So that means that I could do a month of that sort of songs, and then I can do a month of heavy processed drum beats and synth sounds and delayed vocals, and so that's what I mean. I'm quite excited about it, so I think I do want to try it,
because like your output is going to be amazing, and then your creativity level is going to be crazy, and you're going to be able to keep challenging yourself to do like a different style and see what comes from it. Like that's really, I think, what keeps it fresh, and it keeps it fresh for you as like an artist, and
so many, so many plans and options that you run away with it, and you think, oh, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this,
because that's what you'll need when you, as fuel for when you commit to doing that once a week for a year.
Yes. But I end up tripping over my ideas of, I've got this EP that's 5 tracks. I'll put that up online. I want to print it, but I don't want to do it on a CD. I want to do it on a vinyl. But then, 5 tracks on a vinyl. I know it's doable, but it's not very sufficient, is it? I know I could record another 4 songs acoustically and put it on the other side. So it's a 9-track album that's only secret for the vinyl. Okay, yeah, cool. No, wait, no, song a month thing. What ones do I put those ones on it, or do I not? Or wait, shit, if I start the song a week thing now, do you know what I mean?
It runs away from you.
I know, so that comes back to discipline and a different type of thing, really. It's just
well, and I think it also comes back to what we were saying. Like, what do you really want at the end of the day? Do you want to have a vinyl physical copy? If you do, then that sounds like an awesome plan. If you want to like put that vinyl out in a year and get your songwriting chops, like, or like try something completely different, then that's cool too.
Yeah. God, so many, too many options, really.
That's how I feel too. It's like with all these things I'm putting out, it's like, so there's a couple people asking for physical copies, and I'm like, I just don't have the cash to do that. I don't really want to make a bunch, because I've been in bands and seen over the years like how it rolls. It's, you make 100 copies of something and you sell 5 of them, and you have 90 or 95 of them sitting around, and it's like, I don't know. That's what's been for me. I don't know. Maybe your experience is a little bit different, and you obviously play out a lot more. But
no, it's definitely the same thing for me. Definitely.
Or you could do 52 songs once a week, and then you can make an album out of the best 10 of those. Like.
Yeah, well, I thought about doing a song every month, be it a 3-4 track thing.
That's all. Yeah, that sounds awesome too.
That's an EP. Bush. There you go. Next month, Bush. Same thing. And some will be good, some will be less good. Like, I like
that idea.
I got inspired, kind of half to do this as well in terms of the amount of material. There's a guy called R. Stevie Moore.
He's
done like,
you told me about him.
Yeah, he's done like 400 albums and
he's
5,000
like
songs.
The archetype of like, self-recorded, independent.
Yes.
Putting out like prolific output. Yeah.
Yes, and you listen to some of his stuff and it's inaudible. It's like, oh my god, how does it's like some of Frank Zappa's stuff is very hard to digest, I think, sometimes. But it's like that tenfold. But in these interviews, he's like, yeah, I've written 5,000 songs. Are they all good? No, some of them are terrible, but some of them are really good. So, and I liked that, and like that, and
yeah, it's because
I
feel like with anything, it's woodshedding, you know, and it's like, like having, you have to have that output, and you have to get to work on, like I think just like again, it's quantity over quality at this point, and especially at a point where you're, like starting out. If anyone listening is just starting out, or you know, is getting ready to put something out, or is like uncertain about how to put things out, it's like just do as many things as you can and get them all out as fast as you can, because the only person you're racing is like yourself, and getting better at what your craft is, you know. And it's like I think, because for me personally, I feel like every time I write something, it's usually better than the stuff I did before, to me at least.
Always,
So it's like, so it's like I'm not really at a point yet. Like I don't know, maybe the rest of my life I'll be making songs and, you know, always feel that way. But I also feel like I'm getting to a point where like this stuff I'm doing is good, and I don't know, I no longer like suck. You know, it's like I know.
Yeah.
Because I think when you first start doing something, it's like your taste and your ability never line up, and I think I'm at a point, you know, of like having done all this stuff where it's like, oh, I think I kind of know what I'm doing now. I know my process. I know how to hack myself to get the things I want done, and what I like to hear, and like, you know, because that's what Tim always says too, and he's always like, he said it to me a couple times and said, I can't believe like how quickly you can do this, and it's like, I never really thought of that as like a skill, or thought of that as like something that would be, I don't know, interesting or valuable to somebody else. And then I started thinking about that more. I'm like, that is really cool. But that's, you know, that's because it's like I've fucking done it, you know.
Yeah, and because
1,000 times or whatever.
There's the linking back as well to what we said earlier on. There's a mystique either associated to musicians and creative people from outside that world or within it, that there's this preciousness. There's this what was I gonna say? I had a really good point. Shit. So
you're saying like outside of.
Oh, you said it. What did you say?
Saying
before?
like so you're saying like there's like a mystique put onto, because if you don't see like you're saying something about like if you don't see the process of how this is done.
Yeah, but saying how quickly things can be done, and that you're happy with things, or you're more happy with things now, and like the Beatles did shitloads of songs.
Yeah.
Shitloads of songs, because they looked at it as a convey. It work, but it was a grind. Let's go in and do this stuff. I think too many people fall down the cracks of, well, my hero was a bit of a washed up drunk, creative genius locked in a drunk's body. So and he only did 5 songs. So you know, I need to. That's what I should do.
Yeah, that's something that always comes up. I'm sure if like you're saying that live stream you're listening to, I don't know if you caught the part about like Kevin Shields and like My Bloody Valentine, and that guy always seems to be this exception to the, like everybody always uses him as like the exception. Like, oh, well, Kevin Shields, you know, wrote an album and then didn't put one out for 11 years and didn't put another one out for another 20. And like, those are some of the best albums I've ever heard. And it's like, well, what do you think he was doing like during those 20 years? Like, I'm sure he was perfecting something about those. I'm sure he was also writing a lot of other songs that you've never heard. And who knows, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he is this like mad genius that, you know, exists in a bubble, and you know he's in, you know, the cabin in the woods and woodshedding his stuff, and no, it's not perfect yet. Let me go. Like, I just think that mentality is like, okay, maybe he is the exception to the rule. It's like the Ed Sheeran thing. It's like, okay, maybe, you know, there's somebody that's going to be that guy, right? But chances are like none of us are that guy. I'm very, very. I hate to break it to people, but
I'm very interested to watch what Ed Sheeran does, because I listen to his music, and his business sense doesn't line up for me. Like, his music is very, very poppy, very accessible, and then when you hear him talk, he's like very savvy, very on it, and clever, to the point where I think, well, I don't think the music is as clever as he's coming across with his in terms of, it's obviously clever because it's making him shitloads of money, but it's not intelligent music. But I don't mean that as a diss, in a sort of disrespectful way. But it's not Leonard Cohen, is it? It's not Bob Dylan. So
yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, I think I know.
But I watch him and I think, and I hope every time that new thing comes out of his, I was like, my fingers are crossed. Like, come on, Ed, like shock the world. And I nearly got there because do you know Aussie Man Reviews? Have you ever seen any of his videos?
Yeah, I think that sounds familiar.
Really, yeah, Aussie guy, obviously, and he reviews stuff. It's very funny. But he does a Game of Thrones thing when that's out, review, and he does a little summary, but it's also quite humorous. And he's a summary of the episode and then a review of it. And in between the summary and the episode, the summary and the review, he does a little montage clip of that episode. And one of the time, it was the one with Ed Sheeran in it. And I watched it when I moved over here with my girlfriend and her friends who aren't English, so there was the subtitles up. They're all perfect English, but they're watching it. And it came up with the song that was being played, and it was Ed Sheeran. And it came up Ed Sheeran, Masters of War. And it's playing this song that's so specific to the episode, but so open and broad, because he was saying certain phrases and they were cut into characters or scenes, and it's like, shit, that can be both exactly what that scene is talking about, but it could be about absolutely anything. And I think he's done it. Like he's selling the world one thing and he's saving up this other stuff that's going to come out in a few years, piss everyone off, but it's going to be really good music. And I Google it and it's a fucking Bob Dylan song.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, Ed. Oh,
interesting.
I'd love to have a conversation with him. I'd love to.
Hey,
maybe he'll come.
Call him up. Ask him to be on the podcast. Tell him you're Skype him. Yeah, send him a text.
Maybe, I will do. I think I will do, because
hey, look at it this way, Freddie. This is a good loop back around to everything we're saying. Like, yeah, the worst he could say is no, but you'll never know that.
Yes,
like you'll be in the exact same position if you try to reach out to him or you don't. So hey, you might as well fucking reach out to him. He could say, hey, Freddie, he could be one of those 850 people that saw your video and said, wow, I know this guy. Like, yeah, okay, Freddie, I'll give you 15 minutes. Let's do it.
Exactly. You
never know, man. You really never know. But that's the whole point, is like, whether you do or you don't, you're going to be in the exact same position. So you might as well.
Yes.
The worst that could happen is you'll be in the exact same place you are right now. And it may have taken you 5 minutes to ring him, or send him a text.
Yeah. Crikey.
Or email him, I guess, or whatever.
Maybe we shall see. Maybe he wants to collaborate. Who knows? Yeah. Bless him. Hey, with his silly little funny guitars.
Whoa, Freddie seems a little salty about the whole Ed Sheeran thing. I wonder if there's some alternate universe where I'm actually interviewing Ed Sheeran about Freddie's song "Shape of You." Maybe there's got to be. Depends what you believe in, I guess. Anyway, thank you so much, Freddie. I had so much fun talking with you. We talked for so long. It was definitely worth a two-parter. So hopefully Freddie and I are going to be doing some podcasting together or live streaming on YouTube together. We have some ideas bouncing around, so stay tuned for that. And I'm really looking forward to that. Just got to figure out when Freddie and I can get together. Time zone, hopefully, won't cause too much of an issue. Make sure you check out Freddie's podcast, Are You Freddie For This? Wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find Freddie Webber on Instagram at Freddie Webber. And you can listen to Freddie's music and check out some of his videos at FreddieWebber.com. This is Mike from 424recording.com. Godspeed, my friends. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and review the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you enjoy all the things we're doing here at 424 Recording, I ask, would you support us at patreon.com/424recording? I appreciate you, my friends. And as always, make sure you do something you want to do today, okay?